Rian was finally asleep. The lights in the engineering bay were dim, and only a soft humming sound came from the machines nearby. After 2 long days of working without rest, Rian had collapsed on his small bed in the back of the space station. He had repaired the station's main energy core just in time, saving both humans and aliens who lived there. His hands were still stained with grease. Tools lay scattered near his bed. His face looked calm, peaceful, and very tired, but the quiet didn't last. A soft sound echoed near the doorway. The door slid open with a gentle hiss, and a small figure stepped inside. She moved slowly, carefully, as if she didn't want to wake him. Her skin was light blue, and her long hair flowed behind her like silk. She wore a white robe with glowing symbols stitched along the edges. Her feet made no sound as they touched the floor. She looked at Rian for a long moment. Then, she walked to the side of his bed and stood there quietly. Rian shifted in his sleep, then opened his eyes. He blinked. He sat up. "What?" he mumbled. Confused and still half asleep, the girl lowered her head gently and spoke in a soft voice. "Do not be afraid. I was sent to you as your reward." Rian stared at her, unsure if he was dreaming. "You were sent to me as what?" "As a gift," she said. "My people sent me. You saved our lives. This is our way." Rian rubbed his eyes. "Wait, what do you mean your people? Who are you?" She stepped back slightly, placing her hands together. "I am Tella. I come from the Varellan race. I serve the council. When someone does great good, it is our custom to send a companion, one who will stay with them, learn from them, help them." Rian stood up, confused. Wait, I didn't save your people. I just fixed the station." Tella nodded. "Yes, but without your fix, our children would have died. Our leaders would have fallen. You saved more than you know." Rian walked across the room, trying to think. He looked at her again. Her eyes glowed slightly in the dark, calm but not cold. "This is really strange," he said. "I'm not used to gifts like this. And you're not a thing to be gifted." Tella looked at him closely. "That is why the elders chose me. They believe you would say that." Rian let out a slow breath. "Look, I'm not angry, just surprised. You scared me a little, standing beside me like that." "I am sorry," Tella said softly. "I only wanted to wait until you woke. It is not our way to interrupt sleep." He gave a short laugh. "Well, that's kind of you." Silence followed for a moment. Tella looked around the messy room. Wires, panels, and tools covered almost every surface. She touched a bent wrench gently. "You sleep where you work," she said. Rian shrugged. "It saves time. There's always something broken." He noticed the way she moved, graceful, light, like she had spent her whole life walking through quiet halls. But she didn't seem weak. Her calmness had strength behind it. "So, what happens now?" Rian asked. Tella bowed her head slightly. "Now, I serve. I stay with you. Unless you do not accept." Rian scratched the back of his head. "Serve? I don't need anyone to serve me." She looked up at him, her expression calm. "Then I will simply stay. To learn. To help. That is enough." Rian stared at her. She didn't look scared. She didn't look like she was being forced. She was here because she wanted to be. He finally nodded. "All right, you can stay. But we'll figure this out together." Tella gave a small smile, just enough to show she was pleased. Later that morning, Rian walked into the command center, Tella following silently behind. Commander Bryn, a tall man with gray hair and a thick beard, raised his eyebrows when he saw the two together. "You met her, I see," Bryn said, sipping his drink. Rian frowned. "You knew about this," Bryn chuckled. "Of course, the Varellans warned us. They said they were sending you a companion of honor. Their words, you could have told me." Rian muttered. Bryn shrugged. "Didn't want to ruin the surprise?" Rian looked at Tella, who stood quietly near the door. "So this is normal for them, yes?" Bryn said. "They don't give out many of these, usually only to their own kind. You impressed them." "I just fixed some circuits. You saved the city," Bryn replied. "Don't pretend you didn't." Rian sat down, thinking. Bryn leaned closer. "Look, She's not a spy or anything. She's here to learn from you and maybe teach you something too. The Varellans believe that sharing minds is how peace grows. Rian sighed. I guess I'll have to get used to it. Bryn smiled. You're already doing better than most would. Back in the workshop, Rian gave Tella a small toolkit. Do you know how to use these? He asked. Tella looked at the tools, curious. Some, but not all. All right, Rian said. We'll start with the basics. As the day passed, he showed her simple repairs. She listened quietly, asking small questions now and then. Her hands were quick and careful, her eyes sharp. When Rian handed her a small metal panel to fix, she did it in one try. You're a fast learner. He said. I listen, she replied. That is how we grow. By evening, the two sat near the power cores. Rian was tired again, but not as alone as before. He looked at Tella. You really okay being here? Yes, she said, without hesitation. I don't know what all this means yet, but thanks for being honest. Tella nodded. Thank you for allowing me to stay. The room grew quiet again, but this time it felt different, not lonely, just calm. Outside the window, stars moved slowly across the black sky. Rian leaned back against the wall, his eyes closing once more. Tella sat beside him silently, watching the lights, content to be there. And so, the human engineer and the alien girl began a quiet, strange, and important bond, one that neither of them fully understood yet, as checked. Days passed since Tella arrived. Rian got used to seeing her in his workshop, silent, calm, always ready to help. She watched how he worked. She handed him tools before he even asked. She cleaned the mess quietly, organized wires, and even repaired small systems on her own. After watching him dot at first, Rian felt awkward. He wasn't used to having someone follow him around. But Tella never complained, never slowed him down. She didn't talk much, but when she did, her words made sense. One morning, Rian looked up from a broken control panel. Tella was sitting on the floor, carefully sorting metal chips by size. Do you ever get bored? He asked. Tella looked up, blinking. No, each thing has meaning. Rian chuckled. Even sorting old parts? Yes, she said softly, because they belong to your work. Rian sat down beside her. You're not here just because of tradition, are you? Tella paused. I was sent by my people. That is true, but I was also allowed to choose. I chose to stay. Rian raised an eyebrow. Why? You fixed something we couldn't, she said. But more than that, you didn't ask for praise. You just worked. That is rare. Rian rubbed the back of his neck. I just wanted to stop the station from falling apart. That's all. You saved lives, Rian, Tella said, her voice calm. Many lives. He didn't know what to say. Her words made him feel strange, like he had done something much bigger than he realized. Later that day, Rian and Tella walked through the station halls. People stared at them, but no one said anything. Some humans gave Tella curious looks. A few nodded respectfully. The Varellan guests, however, lowered their heads slightly in quiet greeting. Rian noticed. Why did they bow their heads like that? He asked Tella. It is a sign of thanks, she replied, for those who have earned honor. I never asked for honor, Rian said. That is why you have it, Tella answered. They reached the central garden area, one of the few places with real plants, sunlight panels, and benches. Rian sat down, letting the warm fake sun touch his face. Tella sat beside him. I don't really know much about your people, Rian said. Why do you send companions as gifts? Tella turned her head toward him. To us, service is not lower than leadership. When someone does great good, they deserve someone who can help carry their burden. We call it the bond of peace. And that's you? Rian asked. Yes, Tella said. I was trained for this. You were trained to serve, Tella nodded. To serve, to learn, to walk beside someone. It is not slavery. It is choice. It is trust. Rian was quiet for a moment. Do you miss your home? Tella looked at the sky panel above. Sometimes, but my path brought me here. I follow it willingly. That night, a message arrived from the Varellan High Council. Rian was in the control room when it appeared on the screen. Bryn stood beside him, reading it aloud. The companion Tella has been recalled for ceremonial review. Her presence must be confirmed and evaluated. Return her to the Varellan delegation at once. Bryn looked at Rian. They want her back. Rian frowned. But why? Could be standard protocol, Bryn said. Maybe they just want to check in. Or maybe some of them aren't happy she stayed. Rian crossed his arms. She's not a tool they can take back whenever they want. I know, Bryn said. But this is their custom. Let's not cause offense. Tella entered the room quietly. She had already heard. I will go, she said simply. You don't have to, Rian replied. It is part of the bond. They must see that it is true. Rian hesitated. Will you come back? If you accept me again, she said, I will. Return. The next morning, Rian walked Tella to the Varellan ship dock near the edge of the station. The ship was smooth, silver, and shaped like a large leaf. Several tall Varellans stood near the ramp, dressed in flowing robes. One of them stepped forward, a sharp-eyed elder with silver markings on his skin. I am Alar, he said. High Speaker of the Council. Rian nodded slowly. I'm Rian. I know, Alar replied, his tone cool. We have heard much about you. Tella bowed slightly. Alar nodded back, then looked at Rian. She has followed you, learned from you. But we must confirm that her service has not been forced, and that your actions are still honorable. I didn't force anything, Rian said. The Varellan homeworld was wide and peaceful, full of quiet lakes, glowing plants, and tall crystal towers. Rian had never seen anything like it. Everything looked smooth, clean, and perfectly balanced, as if nature and science lived together in harmony. Tela walked beside him in silence. She had changed into her ceremonial robe, white with soft silver lines round them. Other Varellans passed by, watching Rian with quiet eyes. None of them looked angry, but most didn't smile either. At the far end of the great hall stood the Varellan Council. 7 elders sat in a half circle, each one wearing different colors, showing their roles. In the center sat Alar, the High Speaker. He raised a hand as Rian and Tella stepped forward. You stand before the council, Alar said, to explain the bond. Rian looked at Tella. She gave a slight nod. He stepped ahead. I am Rian, he began. I'm an engineer. I only did what I was trained to do, fix the energy systems on your station. I didn't ask for reward. I didn't expect anything. But Tella came to me. She said it was your way. A few council members exchanged looks. Alar leaned forward. Do you understand the meaning of such a gift? I understand it now, Rian said. It's not about ownership. It's about trust. And do you accept the weight of that trust? Alar asked. She is not a machine. She is one of us. I know, Rian said quickly. She's smart. She's careful. She helps me every day. I don't think of her as mine. She's my partner. One of the elders stood. Her robe was dark green. Words are easy. We want action. We want proof. Alar nodded. Then let us test the bond. Soon after, Rian stood in a large circular room filled with glowing devices. Screens showed maps, data, and power lines running across the Varellan capital. The central city's shield system had a minor failure, small, but dangerous if not fixed. The elders wanted Rian to solve it, alone. Tella stood behind the glass, watching. She was not allowed to help this time. Rian took a deep breath. All right, show me the system layout. One of the Varellan techs brought up the files. The structure was nothing like human design. Curved energy streams, strange symbols, and unfamiliar parts. Rian frowned. He couldn't read the system language. But then he noticed something. One of the parts had a small marking similar to a pattern Tella had once drawn in his workshop. A clue. He closed his eyes, remembering how Tella had explained their power system using simple shapes. He began thinking like her, piece by piece. He traced the fault. 2 energy lines were crossing in a way that drained the core. He rerouted them using the control tools and adjusted the flow rate. The lights blinked green. The system was stable again. A soft chime rang out. Behind the glass, Tella smiled. She didn't say anything, but her eyes told Rian everything. Back in the council hall, Alar stood again. You fixed the fault. That is clear, he said. But still, I question the strength of this bond. Rian stepped forward. Why? Because I'm human. Because you are short-lived. Your kind moves fast, acts without thinking. You forget old ways, Alar said. Tella is not a gift to be praised once and forgotten later. Rian's voice stayed calm. I didn't ask for her. I didn't even understand at first, but I never treated her badly. She's helped me every day since she arrived, and I've learned more from her than from anyone else. Alar looked at Tella. Is this true? Tella stepped forward. Her voice was steady. It is true. Rian never treated me like a servant. He let me choose how to help. He taught me gently, and he listened when I spoke. You still wish to stay with him? Another elder asked. Double quotes, yes. Tella answered, not because I was ordered, because I believe in him. Alar's eyes narrowed slightly, but he said nothing after the hearing. Rian and Tella sat on a stone bench near the lake. The water glowed under the evening light. A few birds with soft wings flew over the quiet surface. I didn't expect so many tests, Rian said. It is our way, Tella replied. The council must be sure. You were very brave in there, he told her. Thank you. You were the brave one, she said. I just spoke the truth. They sat in silence. For a while. Do you think Alar still doesn't trust me? Rian asked. Tella nodded slowly. He is old. He has seen things he cannot forget. But he will change? Rian asked. Tella looked at the lake. Maybe, or maybe we must show him. How? By walking forward, she said, one step at a time. The next day, as they prepared to leave the planet, a message arrived. A storm was approaching the capital. A massive energy wave was building in the upper skies. If the shield generators failed again, the entire city would be in danger. Rian was already checking the systems. Power drain again, he muttered. Just like before, but worse. We must tell the council, Tella said. They rushed to the main tower, where alarms were already sounding. Alar stood at the control panel, frowning. Other Varellan engineers worked fast, but the readings looked bad. Let me help, Rian said. Alar shook his head. This is our world. We will handle it. You saw what I did yesterday, Rian said. Let me do it again. Tella stepped forward. He can do it. Let him try. Alar hesitated. Then he stepped aside. Rian rushed to the main panel. Tella stood beside him this time, allowed to help now. They worked quickly, her fingers dancing across the symbols while Rian followed the energy lines. Bypass the left conduit, Tella said. Got it, Rian replied. Now lower the pulse here. The lights flickered, then turned solid green. The storm hit, but the shields held. The city was safe. Everyone in the room stared at the two of them, one human, one Varellan. Working like one mind, Alar stepped forward slowly. He looked at Rian for a long moment. He did not speak, but this time, he gave a small nod, a sign of respect. Rian sat at his workstation, looking at the new shield data. The space station was calm again, but his mind was not. The storm back on the Varellan planet had shown how fragile things still were. He had helped, yes, but what if he had failed? Across the room, Tella worked quietly. She was repairing a small power regulator. Her hands moved gently, as if she wasn't touching metal, but something alive. Rian glanced at her. You don't stop, do you? He asked. Tella looked up. There is always more to do. Rian smiled. That's something we both understand. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then, a loud beep came from the control panel. Rian stood quickly and walked over. A red signal flashed across the screen. Distress signal, he muttered. Tella joined him. It's coming from the Varellan capital, she said. Rian tapped the screen. Another power failure? No, Tella said. Her voice dropped slightly. This is different. Look, external source. A ship is approaching. Rian's eyes widened. Is it hostile? Tella read the symbols quickly. Unknown. But it's not from our alliance. Not Varellan. Not human. No identification code. Commander Byrne's voice came through the speaker. Rian, Tella, report to the command center. Now, the command center was filled with officers. The big screen showed a large black ship, shaped like a claw, moving toward the Varellan planet. It didn't respond to messages. It didn't send any signal. It just moved forward slow and quiet. What is that thing? Rian asked. No one knows. Bryn replied. But it's not one of ours. Tell a step forward. It is not peaceful. I feel it. Bryn nodded. We think. The same. We've tracked it. It passed a small outposts. Both are gone now. Rian stared at the screen. It destroyed them? Yes, Bryn said, without warning. No message. Just silence. Tella's face stayed calm. But her hands clenched slightly. If it reaches the Varellan capital, she said, it could be disaster. We're building a defense plan. Bryn said, but we need something more. He turned to Rian. You've worked with both human and Varellan systems. We need you to create something that can help stop that ship. Something quick, smart, and powerful. Rian blinked. Me? I'm just an engineer. You're the only one who can bridge both sides, Bryn said. We need a new kind of jammer. One that mixes Varellan pulse technology with human signal. Disruptors. Rian looked at Tella. She gave a small nod. I'll help him, she said. Bryn smiled. Good, you got 2 days. Rian and Tella worked side by side in the workshop. He handled the human tech, the circuits, wires, and signal cores. Tella focused on the Varellan parts, energy pulses, crystal memory, and glowing node stones. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. Rian pointed. That connector won't hold. Try the thin crystal. Tella nodded. And if we boost the signal flow here, the jammer can spread across a wider range. They build it piece by piece, 1 part human, 1 part Varellan. Together, it looked strange, but it pulsed with life. This might actually work, Rian said. We must test it, Tella replied. They activated the jammer. The signal spread in a wide arc, clean, sharp, and strong. It's working. Rian said, this could stop that ship, but only if we place it close enough, Tella said. Very close, Rian frowned. To close, we need to install it on one of the moons. That's where the enemy ship will pass, Tella nodded. Then we go there. Bryn approved the plan. A small ship was prepared. Rian and Tella would fly to the moon, set the jammer, and activate it. A human team would cover them from orbit. But time was short. The enemy ship was getting closer. As the small shuttle flew across space, Rian looked out the window. The black ship was now clearly visible, massive, cold, and without lights. It gave no sound. It just moved forward like a shadow. Have you ever seen anything like this? Rian asked. No, Tella said softly. It is wrong. It is no life, no voice. Only hunger. Rian swallowed. Then we stop it. They landed on the moon's surface. It was rocky and dark, but they found a small ridge overlooking the space path. This would be the perfect place. Rian unpacked the jammer. We set it. Here, aim it up. Tella helped him place the base. They locked the legs into the ground and connected the power. 5 minutes to full charge. Rian said, let's hope it's enough. Suddenly, the ground shook. The enemy ship had noticed them. From its side, a beam of red light fired down, hitting the ridge nearby. Rian fell back. Rocks flew past him. Tella pulled him up. They're targeting. US, we're not done yet, Rian shouted. He ran back to the jammer, checking the power. 3 minutes, another blast hit nearby. This time even closer. We have to finish this. Tella said, I know. Rian replied, typing fast. Just hold. A third blast struck the edge of the ridge. Rian lost balance and fell hard. A sharp piece of metal cut across his arm. Rian. Tella rushed to him. I'm okay, he said, teeth clenched. Keep it going. Tella ran to the controls, finishing the sequence. The light on the jammer turned blue. It's ready, she shouted. Rian limped to the console. With one last press, he activated the jammer. A wave of white light shot upward. On the ship above, systems blink keys checked. The bright wave from the jammer spread across the dark sky like a silent explosion. It reached the black enemy ship in seconds. Inside the command center on the space station, Commander Bryn and his team watched the screens carefully. The jammer is active, one officer said. signal interference spreading. Bryn leaned forward. And the enemy ship, still moving, the officer replied. But slower now. Their main power is flickering. Bryn's eyes stayed on the display. Hold the line. Don't fire yet. On the moon below, Rian leaned against the broken ridge, breathing hard. His arm was still bleeding from the cut. Dust covered his face. Tella stood beside him. Watching the sky, it worked, she said softly. They're slowing down. Rian nodded. Let's hope that's enough. But just as he tried to stand, the ground trembled again. The enemy ship fired another beam, not at them this time, but toward the planet below. They're changing target, Tella said. Rian wiped the blood from his forehead. They know we're jamming them, but now they want to strike the capital. We must stop them fully, Tella said. The jammer's light pulsed faster. Suddenly, one of its sidearms sparked. No, Rian said, rushing toward it. It's overheating. The signal pressure's too high. He opened the side panel. Circuits were melting. The Varellan crystal core was cracking under the pressure. It won't hold, Tella said. The system is too different, Rian thought. Fast. We need to balance it, connect another system to cool it down. We have nothing left. Tella replied. Rian looked at her. Then, slowly, he reached into his backpack and pulled out his old engineering core, small, round device he always carried. This is human cooling tech, he said. It's not meant for this. But maybe it can work. You could get hurt. Tella warned. Rian smiled. If we don't do this, they'll destroy your home. I'd rather take the risk. Together, they connected the core. Rian's fingers moved quickly. Despite the pain, Tella steadied the crystal and aligned the pulses. The moment the human core locked in, the heat dropped. The jammer glowed brighter than ever. From orbit, the enemy ship stopped moving. In the command center, officers cheered. The ship is frozen, someone shouted. It's shutting down all systems, another added. Their engines gone, shields gone. Bryn smiled. We've got them. Back on the moon. Rian sat down heavily on a rock. He looked pale, his arm still bleeding. Tella knelt beside him and tore a piece from her robe. She wrapped it around his arm gently. You saved them, she said. We saved them, Rian replied, looking up at her. For the first time, Tella smiled fully. It was soft, small, but warm. Will the council see it now? Rian asked. That this bond isn't just words. They saw, Tella said. They watched everything. Rian leaned back and looked at the stars. Good. Then, his eyes slowly closed. Rian woke in the space station's medical bay. The lights were dim. A soft machine beeped beside his bed. His arm was wrapped and healing. His chest ached, but it wasn't too bad. As he opened his eyes, he saw Tella sitting quietly near him, just like the first night they met. You're awake, she said softly. You stayed, he whispered. I will always stay, she replied. He smiled. What happened to the ship? It was pulled into orbit. It's disabled. The Varellans are studying it, and the council, they sent a message, Tella said. They want to see you. Later that day, Rian walked into the council room again. This time, he walked with Tella by his side, not behind him. The elders were standing, not sitting. Their faces were calmer, softer. Alar stepped forward. You risked your life, he said. For our people, for someone not your own. I didn't do it for praise, Rian replied. I did it because I care. Alar nodded. And that is what makes you worthy. The other council members bowed their heads. We accept the bond fully. Alar said, Tella may stay with you by her own choice. She is no longer a reward. She is a bridge. Tella turned to Rian. Is that what we are now? A bridge. He looked at her and smiled. We're something better. We're a team. Back on the space station, Commander Bryn welcomed Rian and Tella with proud eyes. You did more than save a world, he said. You've built something rare. What happens now? Rian asked. Bryn handed him a data pad. You're being offered a new role, lead engineer for a joint human-Varellan project. A station where both species can work together. Rian looked at Tela. She simply said, Let's go. As the station lights dimmed for the night, Rian stood beside a large window, watching the stars. Tella joined him. Do you remember? She asked. The night I first entered your room, Rian smiled. How could I forget? I thought I was dreaming. I thought I would only stay a few days, Tella said. Now look at us. He said. She leaned slightly closer. We began with silence, Tella whispered. But now, I hear you clearly. Rian looked at her. And I understand you now, he replied. Not as someone sent to me, but someone who chose to stay. Outside, the stars continued to shine. But something new had begun between two lives, two worlds, and one quiet promise. The new joint station was a symbol of hope, a place where humans and Varellans worked side by side. Sharing knowledge and building a future together, Rian stood at the entrance with Tell beside him. Feeling a mix of pride and nervousness, Commander Bryn greeted them warmly. This is just the beginning, Rian. We've come far, but there are still challenges ahead. Rian nodded. I'm ready. Days later, as they settled into the station, a new threat appeared. A pirate ship, faster and more aggressive than the enemy before, approached the station. Its weapons were powerful, and its intentions were clear: attack and take control. Rian and Tella watched the approaching ship from the control room. Red warning lights blinked everywhere. We have little time, Bryn said. The pirates want to break our alliance. Tella's face was calm but serious. We must protect what we built. Rian turned to Bryn. We need to use the hybrid technology to get a shield jammer combined with a signal disruptor. It worked before. Bryn nodded. But this ship is faster. We must act fast. Rian and Tella began working immediately. They combined human signal scramblers with Varellan energy pulses to build a stronger defense. Tella studied the Varellan energy matrix. If we increase the pulse frequency here, it will confuse their targeting systems. Rian connected the human disruptor circuits, and if I boost the power output here, the jammer can reach farther. They worked side by side, their hands moving in rhythm. The device took shape quickly. Bryn watched. You to make a good team. Tella smiled softly. We learn from each other. The pirate ship closed in fast. Rian and Tella prepared to install the new jammer on a nearby asteroid, the best position to block the pirates' weapons. A small team, led by Bryn, was ready to escort them. The shuttle took off. On the way, Rian checked the jammer. Everything looks good. But the installation will be dangerous. Tella nodded. The pirates will try to stop us. The shuttle landed on the rocky asteroid. The surface was rough and uneven. Rian and Tella jumped out quickly, carrying the jammer carefully. Suddenly, the pirate ship fired a beam that lit up the sky. Rocks exploded around them. Move, Bryn shouted. Rian and Tella ran toward the installation point, dodging falling debris. Rian's heart pounded. Almost there, Tella held the jammer steady. Rian connected the power cables. Just a few more seconds, he said. The pirate beam struck near them again, knocking Rian to the ground. He felt pain in his side but ignored it. Tella helped him up. You're hurt. I'm fine, Rian said. We finished this now. Rian and Tella activated the jammer. A wave of bright energy spread out, blocking the pirate ship's weapons. The pirate beams missed their target. The ship faltered, its systems confused and disrupted. But the pirates sent fighters to attack the shuttle team. Bryn's squad fought bravely, holding off the attackers. Rian looked at Tella. We did it. The jammer works. Tella smiled. Thanks to you. Suddenly, a fighter ship fired at the jammer. The energy device sparked and started to fail. We must protect it, Tella shouted. Rian grabbed his toolkit and ran toward the device. Fixing the damaged circuits under fire, Tella covered him, using her quick reflexes to warn him of danger. With a final adjustment, the jammer stabilized. The pirate ships began to retreat, their weapons useless. From the station, cheers rang out. The alliance was safe for now. Back on the shuttle, Rian's injury was worse than he thought. Tella helped him lie down. You saved many lives, she said gently. Rian smiled weakly. Couldn't have done it without you. At the station hospital, Rian rested. Tella stayed beside him, never leaving. Commander Bryn visited. You passed the final trial, Rian. And so did Tella. Rian looked at Tella. What happens next? Bryn smiled. The council and human leaders want you to lead more projects. Your bond has become a symbol of peace. Tella took Rion's hand. Together, we are stronger. As Rion recovered, the station buzzed with new energy. Humans and Varellans worked side by side, learning and growing. Rion and Tella's bond was no longer a secret or a reward. It was a partnership built on respect, courage, and trust. Together, they faced the future ready for whatever came next. The sun's soft light filtered through the tall windows of the joint station's main hall. Rion stood near the center, looking out at the busy corridor beyond. People from many worlds passed by, humans, Varellans, and others, all working together in harmony. Tela stood beside him, her calm blue eyes watching the scene with quiet pride. It's hard to believe how far we've come, Rion said softly. Tella smiled. We began with a gift. Now, we have built a future. Rion looked at her, grateful. You were right. This bond is not about ownership or duty. It is about trust. Yes, Tella said. And trust grows with time. The council chamber was filled again, but this time it was different. Instead of cold formality, there was warmth. The Varellan elders and human leaders sat side by side, discussing new plans for exploration and cooperation. LAAR, the High Speaker, looked at Rion. And Tella, you have shown us all what is possible. Rion bowed his head respectfully. I am honored. Tella stepped forward. We are not just two beings from different worlds. We are one. A young Varellan child approached Rion shyly. Will you teach me to fix machines like you? Rion smiled. Of course, anyone can learn. Tella watched the child with gentle eyes. And I will teach you about the stars. The child beamed. Later, Rion and Tella walked through the garden of the station. Flowers glowed softly beneath the artificial sky. The air smelled sweet and fresh. Rion reached out and took Tella's hand. You came to me as a gift, he said. But now, you are much more. Tella squeezed his hand. And you are more than I expected. They walked in silence, comfortable in each other's presence. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. A new ship was arriving at the station. Rion and Tella hurried. To the docking bay, a sleek vessel landed smoothly. From it stepped a delegation from a distant world, the Larithians, known for their wisdom and technology. The leader, a tall woman with silver hair, approached. We have heard of your alliance, she said. We wish to join and learn. Bryn smiled. This is just the beginning. Together, we are stronger. Rion looked at Tella. Are you ready? She nodded. Always. That night, Rion and Tella stood on the observation deck. The stars shone brightly beyond the glass. We started as a gift, Tella said softly. But now, we create our own path. Rion pulled her close. Together, the stars twinkled, as if blessing their promise. In the quiet of the station, Rion felt hope. Hope for peace, for friendship, and for a future where differences were strength, not division. Tella looked up at him. The gift was only the beginning. Rion smiled. The journey continues. Hand in hand, they faced the endless sky, ready for whatever adventures awaited.